Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Cup of Trio. This is your co-host, Desiree.
And I'm Claudia, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Beatrix from the Project Best team. Welcome to the episode. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing pretty good.
Yay!
So today's topic is first-generation college students, and this is in celebration of National First Generation Day, which is held on November 8th of every year, where colleges around the nation celebrate and bring awareness to their first-generation college student population. This week at UCF, there is a full agenda of first-generation opportunities and events, from volunteer opportunities, a lunch and learn, a scavenger hunt, networking panels, and the annual Atrium celebration, where we celebrate our students in the student union, giving out giveaways, photo opportunities, props, and everything in celebration of First Generation Week.
And we find First Generation Week to be very special to us. And why is that? Well, it's because as people that work in Trio, we are actually first gen ourselves. So it's a really nice mix of the two, where we have First Gen Week and our Trio 60th anniversary week. So combining the two, it's a very big celebration for us, and it really means a lot to all of us here in the office. So with that said, I want to go ahead and share some fun statistics about being first gen, specifically at UCF. So one of the first things that I want to share is that approximately 54% of undergraduates nationally are first generation. That is wild, especially because when I first transferred here, I had no idea what being first gen even meant. I didn't know that there is an entire community dedicated to people who are the first in the family to receive a bachelor's degree. So that's always fun to know. And then another little fact is that 20% of UCF students are first generation. That's also pretty wild, pretty impressive. So shout out to all my first gen Knights here on campus. And then we have 80% of Prime STEM students are first gen. Shout out Prime STEM students. And then our last little fact here is all of the full-time staff in our program are first generation. So, yeah.
So that being said, with majority of our staff being first gen, we want to share some of our stories and our experiences, just to let you know that you are not alone. So just from hearing these statistics, you can see that there are more first-gen students undergrad nationally than there are non-first-gen students. So you may feel like such a small number on your campus or in your groups and within your peers, but it's actually more common than not. So, Claudia, could you share a little bit about your experience coming to UCF as a first-gen student and kind of what that process looked like for you?
Yeah, so my family is from Puerto Rico. They're from a small little town called Guamo. And in that area, there's only maybe one or two major universities that you can attend. And my mom is able to get an AA. So anything above that was never talked about in our house. It was always like, oh, yeah, go to school, blah, 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 do your best, get a free ride to school, whatever. And that was pretty much it. So do well, get scholarships, and that's it. So initially, I started off at Broward College, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. At first, I thought, well, I like animals, so let me go work with animals. And then I became a STEM girly. I took Orgo 1, and I was like, this is not for me. This is not what I like. And then I took an intro to psych class at Broward College, and that really just opened everything for me. I was so excited to learn about why people act the way that they do, how their development can influence their behaviors, and so on and so forth. And so when I looked into schools to transfer to, at the time, FIU didn't have a clinical psychology program. And I had already had some family in Orlando, so I was like, well, let me get that college experience and move away from home and be on my own and whatever. And so then when I came to UCF, just the whole transfer process was a lot to unpack because, like I mentioned, like my mom, she just did an AA and that was it. There was no transfer, there was no nothing. So I did the Direct Connect thing I actually finished my AA at Valencia. So I went through Direct Connect through Valencia, and honestly, they weren't much help, if I'm being completely honest. I did most of it myself. I did the transcripts and everything. And once I got that acceptance letter, it wasn't until the weekend before the semester started when I got my acceptance letter. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to find a room? How am I going to cover the cost of everything? I sold my car. And I came up here, and then my dad gave me one of his cars, and I was able to make it work that way. But overall, it was a lot. Like, it moved so fast, and I had no idea. And so pulling up to campus in like 2022, people were still they're still wearing their masks, and some of the classes were still mostly online, and there weren't that many students on campus, so it was still weird because like when you grow up watching things like High School Musical and whatever, I know it's high school, right? But like you expect like a community and like everyone's like cheering and whatever, and then you pull up and everyone's wearing masks and social distancing. You're like, oh, it was weird, but overall, it was a pretty pleasant experience. What about you guys?
So I actually came to UCF as a first-time in college student, so I wasn't a transfer. I was very familiar with the campus just from previous programs that I was in middle school and high school, having taken field trips. So I thought I knew UCF. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to UCF. I know everything about the campus. But when you actually get here, it's completely different. So with me being first gen, neither of my parents have a college degree, but I do have older siblings who have been through college. But even with that, it's different navigating at one of the largest schools in the nation, trying to find resources, trying to make friends, juggling working and paying for classes, paying for things you need as a student. It's a very different experience, and I feel like a lot of times if you don't have that background of like your parents having been through it and being able to guide you through it, you're really breaking down the barrier because you're trying to figure everything out yourself. You have to find these resources yourself. You may have visited campuses during high school, but you don't know what that's like until you're actually here on campus. And you're a full-time student and you're looking for resources and you don't really know where to turn. So I will say I wouldn't say that it was very difficult, but looking back, I don't think that I took advantage of all of the resources that I maybe should have and could have, but not because I didn't want to, it's just I didn't know about them. And I think that's an important thing that TRIO programs really help out with is connecting our students to resources. Like I always say, like I wish when I was a student here, I had known about Prime STEM and Project Best specifically because I wasn't a STEM major. Because there were a lot of resources and things that I felt like I missed out on just not knowing about them. What about you, Beatrix?
Well, I am a transfer student also. I transferred to UCF last spring, and I started my journey at Miami-Dade College. And throughout that journey of getting my AA, I had a good experience since I was part of a scholarship program, which is called Rising Scholars, and it gave me like a sense of a community. As community college, most people, they go to class and they go back because the livelihood is not really active, but I'm grateful I had a sense of community. And when it came to choosing UCF, I wanted an area that was similar to Miami. As I seen the further north you go in Florida, the less active the area is. So I was like, Orlando is like second best to Miami. And I applied, got accepted, and it was like, I was a bit nervous because I'm like, people already made friends because I will be going into spring 24 and people already started fall 2023. So I was like, I didn't let that fear me as much. And it was kind of hard because I would have been like the first person, and my siblings, they went to local universities, and I will be going away from home, and finding out how to sublease was a huge hassle. I got my lease off of Reddit.
Nice.
And that was a bit scary, but I'm here now and it was really good. And just learning a lot of things, being more responsible. Like it was just really a huge life change and being more disciplined. And I could say, like, before getting here, I did my research because I was part of the trio back at my community college. So I knew when I came here, I need to find the trio office at UCF campus. And I did that. And I found my community there. And also, I looked at other organizations I might be into. And I joined a mentorship program. And I got a mentor when I got here. And it was a really great experience. So I was just looking for my resources so I didn't feel too behind. And yeah, it's my UCF.
I think you mentioned a really good thing about the mentorship program. Could you share how you found that and what that program kind of looks like for you?
Okay, so yes, I'm part of Big Sister, Little Sister, and basically they have a series event when the semester starts, and they have this specific event called Sister to Sister Week, and basically you get to know other older girls who are at UCF, and there's series of event like speed friending, and basically you get to know everybody. And at the end of the week, we have a questionnaire, and you write who do you feel like you connected most with, and sometimes it connects with your major. And I got connected with my big, and she was a nursing major, but we connected really well and we were able to learn from each other. So that was a really great experience. And she graduated. So I felt like I knew a lot within UCF, even though I came very recent. And I just decided to be a mentor myself. So currently I have 2 freshmen. One is a journalism major and the other is focusing in PR. And I'm a communications major. So we are in the same field of business. So it's just great that I could give them majority of the resources that I know and could help them set them on a great path.
Nice, nice. Love to hear that you're paying it forward. I think that's really important as first generation graduates, current students, to share our experiences and pay it forward, serve as mentors for other students. I previously kind of in a capacity mentored high school students. Now as a program coordinator for TRIO programs, obviously I kind of serve as a mentor to the undergraduates that I work with. I know Claudia has been an academic coach, so she's been paying it forward through that aspect. If you want to give a little bit about that, Claudia.
Yeah, so being an academic coach with Project Best and with Upward Bound was honestly so fulfilling. As someone who wants to work in the mental health field. And just circling back really quick to what you said, how when you first transferred here, one of the first things that you wanted to do was get involved with TRIO. I think that's so lovely and heartwarming to hear. You're aware of the resources that TRIO provides and the support that TRIO has to offer. And the fact that, again, the first thing that you did when you transferred to UCF was to seek us out. That's incredible and that's amazing. And that just goes to show that TRIO really works. As cliche as that sounds, it's true. And every time that we get a new student into our office and they share, a similar sentiment as you, where it's as soon as I transferred here, I looked for TRIO, and I don't know, it's so heartwarming to hear that the work that we do is really changing lives and providing the support that we all need. So there's that. I just wanted to lay that out really quick.
Okay, so thank you guys for sharing your stories. Next, we're just going to get into a little bit of questions that could help current or future first-generation students. So what was the college application process like for you?
Well, if I could think back, I feel like for UCF it was kind of simple, but I have to credit my best friend because she did come a semester before and she helped walk me through the process a bit. But yeah, it was a bit an easy process. The only part I would say that gave me the most trouble was when it came to the transcripts. Mm-hmm. calling my community college, paying to send it, and then contacting UCF. They're like, no, we didn't get it yet. And just going on that portal on the portal, and you still see missing. And it's just like that communicating with your college where you're at currently in the new college.
Yeah.
It was a bit stressful.
Yeah, I feel it's always the transcripts. And I don't know why. Maybe I did something wrong, but for some reason they wanted my high school transcripts, even though I was a transfer. So that was fun, going to my high school like years later and being like, hey, so can I get my transcripts? That was weird. But yeah, and like you're constantly refreshing the page and you see that red X and everything else has that green check mark and you're just like waiting
Patiently.
Yeah. And then you finally get that email that everything went through and you're ready and you're like, congratulations. And you get that big old packet in the mail. Oh, I remember that. I still have that. So, yeah. What about you, Desiree?
Mine, I don't remember it that much. I'm a little bit far removed from applying to college, but I do remember it being very easy. I applied in high school because I wasn't a transfer, so I came here directly after high school. I remember it being like a whole day at my high school where seniors were applying to colleges, and we were like in the media center. We had counselors working with us doing the application. I would say for me, not even necessarily the hardest part, but the only thing I can actually remember doing was like that essay. But I loved writing. Like I was really big at journalism. I came into UCF as a journalism major. That's the only thing that I would say was like a big process with the application. So for me, I feel like it was really easy. I also remember getting that big packet and like the little banner thing that they give you. So that was really, really cool. But I would just say advice for students, if you are a current high school student listening or currently at a community college and transferring, if you are having issues, don't be afraid to reach out. I think a lot of people just go through the process and maybe don't look for people to reach out to, but you can always reach out to the admissions office, reach out to registrars, even reach out to us in TRIO. I constantly get emails from students, especially those that are coming from TRIO programs at your community colleges, who are like, hey, I'm thinking of coming to UCF. I actually just got an email about this today. A student that's planning on coming and just asking about transfer credits. So don't be afraid to reach out. Look on the contact pages, the staff pages for different departments at UCF, for the college you want to be admitted to. And if they don't have the answers, usually someone can point you in the right direction. So what are some tips you guys would give about navigating around UCF? So in your experiences, what has been a challenge with navigating, or what did you find easy? This is, again, one of the largest schools, so I know it can be a little bit of a challenge navigating around campus. But what are your thoughts?
I would say just start walking. Just start walking. When I came here, I was just exploring the campus, walking into different offices, and I just asked, oh, what do you guys do here? And I found out what they do, like what did their office provide, and also like learning the acronyms. I'm still learning, because if you're part of like a club, and there's like, because when it comes to getting rooms here, I see it could be iffy. It could be a quick change last minute. So knowing the acronyms will help you a lot, like just knowing which building you're going into, and getting around campus. Some people use scooters, some people bike around. I would say like just travel light, have a backpack, and yeah, just travel around.
I did like when Beatrix touched on like the clubs that you are in, like different organizations. I think using Knights Connect is a really good resource for that. It's basically UCF's directory that has all of the student organizations and clubs listed. UCF has so many organizations and clubs. There's literally something for everybody, but they can be hard to find. So using Knights Connect, you can literally like just look up, like say that you're interested in robotics. You can just type in robotics, and all the robotic clubs will pop up. Or you're interested in dancing, and you type in dancing, and all the clubs that have dancing will pop up. I think that's a really good resource. And also, like during the first weeks of school, there's usually a bunch of tablings. Go to those events, go to the student union, because these organizations and clubs, they have tables just waiting to give you information about the clubs. And also use your social media. There's most clubs and organizations and even the departments here at UCF at least have an Instagram page, and they're usually not that hard to find. You can just type in like UCF and everything will pop up. So definitely use that as well. That's going to really keep you in the loop of like general body meetings, events, things like that going on, because you may find that on Knights Connect, but now you don't know how to actually get into the club. So following them on Instagram definitely helps to keep you in the know of what's going on campus.
I guess my tips would be if you can take the shuttle, save money on gas, because driving around here gets pretty chaotic. I'm not going to lie.
Parking.
Yeah, parking. Parking is insane here. And also with that said, Garage A. Don't sleep on Garage A. Even though it's a bit of a walk from Memory Mall, you can always get your steps in. That's never a bad thing. And also take advantage of things like Knight's Pantry and the gym, because there is a huge gym here on campus. It's got an entire track field in there, so you can go run in there. You got cardio on the second floor, and then you got your weights on the bottom floor, and then afterwards you can go to the pool that's right next to the gym. You got everything right there. And then on top of that, they also have vending machines that have jerky in them. So if you need that protein, before your workout, right after your workout, you can go ahead, get yourself some jerky, step out on the second floor, get yourself a nice little smoothie, and then head to class. Like, come on now. Just at UCF. I mean, I'm probably somewhere else, but here at UCF, it just hits different. So those are my tips.
All right, well, we're getting ready to wrap up here. Before we leave you guys with some final remarks and encouragement, I just want to do a quick segment on some famous first-generation college students. See if you know any of these people. So, known fact, there have been 3 first-generation college student presidents, Richard Nixon, Bill Clinton, and Gerald Ford. We have also had a first-generation First Lady, Miss Michelle Obama. There have been first-generation college student actors and TV personalities, including Oprah Winfrey, Samuel L. Jackson, and my personal favorite actress, Viola Davis. Also, fun fact, Viola Davis is a Trio alumni. She was in Upward Bound when she was in high school. So that's just a really good fact to know. We have had 4 Supreme Court justices that were first-generation students, including Thurgood Marshall, who was the first African-American Supreme Court justice, and also Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Clarence Thomas, and Sonia Sotomayor, and also Dr. Ben Carson, many of you may know as the famous surgeon who did the first, the surgery on the twins, that whole big ordeal. Very prominent figure in medicine. And then lastly, the CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, is also a first-generation college student. So dream big.
Right. Yep. And with Trio, we're here to support you. If you're first gen, we're always here for you guys. We're located in Howard Phillips Hall, Suite 208 if you're in Prime STEM, and I believe 221 if you're in Project Best. So shout out to all the first-gen students. Shout out to Trio. Happy 60th birthday to Trio. We love you, Trio. And we are so proud to be a part of this wonderful community, and we hope to support the students that hopefully will be able to pay it forward to future Trio generations to come. And yeah.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Cup of Trio. This is our final episode for the fall 2024 season. So we will see you guys in the new year, in spring 2025. As always, you can catch us on YouTube. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. That's the tea.
That's the tea.